literally, she's gonna tell us all about the good news.
How they say, good, ugly, and bad, or how it goes, right?
Exactly.
The good,
So
ugly, and bad.
I was telling them that you have amazing news for us, but you know what? For some reason, my computer is not very friendly right now, and it's not letting me. Oh gosh, do you see me there? Like, do you still see everything? And
I see myself moving, but you're frozen.
I'm frozen. Okay.
Yeah.
Um. 'Cause Okay, so let's do this. Let us know everything. You have the charts and everything. Just explain us the charts and
Okay.
everything.
You're
Yeah,
unable to move the charts.
yeah, I can't do it.
Oh my
It's
good. Oh,
frozen.
okay. All
Sorry.
right. No, that's fine. Okay, I'll do my best. Okay. Now we will be quick and right to the point because we have good news and bad news and ugly news because depending on where you stand, and you will have to judge and make your assessment or what are you going to do about it because no bad news are really bad, no good news are really good. It depends where you stand on the fence. So everything we're going to be talking today on this condo market, which is going all over the place, you can take advantage of. So if you have any question, just contact Carla or myself. These programs are recorded, so go to our YouTube channels, subscribe, and share the link. So if you believe that anybody who you know can benefit from the information we're going to be sharing today. So first, I'm going to start that the Greater Toronto Area, the GTA condo sales increased very moderately in the very first quarter of 2024 relative to the first 3 months of 2023, because we're going to be comparing today first quarter of 2023 versus the first quarter of 2024. And well, with actually with buyers benefiting from a lot of choices with a lower average condo selling prices. And I am going to elaborate how it happened, what is happening right now, so you make your best decision on what to do. Well, the total condo sales, I'm opening here my own charts. The total sales amounted in the first quarter of 2024 to 4,700 units, up by 5.3% on a year-over-year basis. So the average condominium selling price in the GTA was $693,000 in the first quarter of 2024, down by like only 1% from 700,000 that was recorded in the first quarter of 2023. But we're talking particularly about the city of Toronto, which almost 2/3 of the total condo sales take place in the downtown core in the city of Toronto. The average selling price was $723,000, down by only 0.5% when compared to Q1 2023. Okay. However, new condo listings were up by 23% over the same period. What does that mean? That now many people who are looking to purchase a condo, either investors or first-time home buyers, that have much more choices in this segment. Okay, I'm just gonna go back again in my slides. I'm so sad we cannot see the slides. You were not able to pull them up, right, Carla? I can see you in Instagram very well, and you're blinking at me, but I don't know if you can hear me. Okay, that's all right. So I'm gonna try be specific as I can verbally because we cannot see the slides. However, now the apartment market summary, where the most condos are sold. So as I mentioned, 2/3 of them mostly sold in the downtown core. Right now I'm looking at a pie chart which tells me that during the first quarter of 2024, 60% of condo units were sold in the city of Toronto. Then you have very similar shares of 12 and 13% in Peel region and York region, respectively. And the Durham region, we only have 4% of condos sold, and in the Halton region, only 6%. And why would that happen? Well, as we know, traditionally in Toronto is where you get the highest appreciation if you're an investor, which is what you would care the most, is where you get most money from your purchase. So 65% in Toronto. Now, what kind of condos are sold in these segments? So the share of sales by bedroom type, I'm looking here, it's 32%. I'm talking to all GTA, is 32% in 2-bedroom condos, which is surprising because actually I thought it was going to be 1-bedroom plus den, which went down and is now 25% of the share in 1-bedroom plus den, and the 1-bedroom is 20% share. Now, bachelors are only 2% share of this segment. Very, very low bachelor sold. And we were talking earlier, Carla and I, that we believe this is due because many people right now are working from home. Now I am going to go specifically getting out of the GTA, and I'm going to go to downtown core, where the sales per bedroom type were 1-bedroom plus den primarily, followed by 1-bedroom, and on third place 2 bedrooms. Okay,
Elisa, now you can see it in the other platforms.
let me okay, perfect, I love it. Yeah, so now you know exactly which area I am referring to in downtown core, and thank you so much for letting me know. I also just would like to mention something else in this segment in downtown core. Hold on, and opening another slide. So the largest share, which is 1-bedroom plus den, also was sold in the average price between $600,000 and $700,000. So that's the segment and the average price most sold. It doesn't mean that you cannot find anything with less expensive or more economical. We have a record of in the bachelor segment selling something less than $400,000 in $380,000 on bachelors in this downtown core that were sold in 2024. And note that these units were sold with no parking attached to it because parking is extremely expensive in downtown core. So if you are just trying to get your right foot into the real estate market with your very first property, well, and if your budget is tight, there are many options around, much less than $700,000, starting between $380,000 and going up. And obviously, we have even 3-bedroom condos over $1.5 million in average that sell with a beautiful lake view, right? If you fancy that. And now we're gonna go to the next slide. Which is going to show what we have in the North York City Center, which is also an area that is developing hugely in different towers, different buildings. And we have here that instead of 1-bedroom and den, the most sold units were 2 bedrooms. And also, well, it's more economical to buy a 2-bedroom condo in the north side, in North York City Center, than it is by the lake in the downtown core. And here also the average would be the same, but for 2 bedrooms, for the same price bracket between $600,000 and $700,000, instead of 1 or 1 plus, then you will be getting the 2 bedrooms, or at least that was in the very first quarter of 2024. And when we go now to Mississauga, which has beautiful, vibrant new buildings. It's so aesthetic right now just to walk in downtown Mississauga. The developers are doing a beautiful job. I love walking around. And here we have equally sold. The preference is equally for 1-bedroom plus den, 2 bedrooms, and 2 bedrooms plus den. 1 bedroom is not sold as much, and also they are much more affordable, being the average selling price in this bracket, $100,000 less than in Toronto downtown core. Here is between $500,000 and $600,000. And if you are still thinking and you don't know what to do, you can get something in Mississauga and have a beautiful commute to Toronto. There's so much public transport right now, very much more efficient than earlier. And that's why also Mississauga City Center is developing so well, because there is much more access to transportation than it was before. So yeah, I mean, if you are thinking on investing and you don't have that extreme hurry for appreciation, which we know we had different factors that didn't allow us to appreciate that fast in the last year and a half, consider the Mississauga City Center. You will be really pleasantly surprised. Yeah, and okay, what else do we have here? I'm going to remove my own slides here because I don't see what you're putting on my screen here.
Oh, I put the condominium
condo.
rental. Yeah,
Sorry?
the condo rental. The condo rental.
Yeah, and this is also very interesting, the rental market. The number of condo lease transactions reported through the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board was up very strongly year over year, okay, for the first quarter of 2024. As you can see, the number of condo rentals reported was up year over year basis by 19.7%, almost 20% in the very first quarter of 2024. Up to 12,541 units, up to from 9,000 units. That was a year ago. And over the same period, the number of units listed for rent also was up by an even greater annual rate, up to 49.3%, which is almost 50%. The number of rental properties listed. Okay, so this resulted in much more choices for renters, just like for sales. There were much more choices for buyers here, and flatlining in the average comparing to year over year. So we stopped having those increases. So rental prices are not going up any longer. In fact, I've had people already in my portfolio requesting me some discounts because they are seeing the market is adjusting, it's not going up that strongly. So this is the good news for those who are renting. However, for those who are investors and they wanted to jump in earlier, you still have time to jump. I do believe that the rents are going to keep adjusting because we have so many choices out there in the market. The competition is brutal right now. And as you can see in the very first quarter of 2024, we saw that the average I don't know if we are already in the vacancy. Okay, let's go. 49. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, here, the very first one. I'm showing here a chart because Carla find the way like magic to find again for the slides to work. This graph is showing how the average rent prices are from the first quarter of 2019 all the way to the first quarter of 2024. So if once these lives are recorded, which are recorded automatically right after we gonna finish the live, you can access them, especially those who cannot see those in Instagram. So we can see here how the average rents have decreased year over year, and we can see that actually they were really high. They were up to the average rents almost $3,000 and going now for $2,700. And I mean in average, we are not segmenting here it is 1 unit or 3 units, just in average all units. That's how it has been decreasing, right? So the rent has decreased a little bit. And also it has this goes with hand with the vacancy rate. If you can show us the next slide, it's a graph, also a historical graph where we are actually showing the vacancy rate has increased 30% when compared to the previous quarter, which is a lot. It's only from 2 to 2.6% in overall, but if we talking from quarter to quarter, is an increase of 30%, which is a lot. But because you know that there's so many choices to choose from in Toronto and also in the GTA. I just would like to mention what if you haven't heard that yet, because I have seen that dynamic in with my buyers as well. So I just want to mention on April 16, 2024, the federal government, okay, announced a new capital
Da, da,
gain
da,
tax
da.
inclusion rate, which is individuals with more than 250,000 in capital gains per year will be subject to 66.67% capital gain tax rates rather than the 50% previous
That
tax
you
rate.
yeah.
It's
So,
huge, and this is 2/3 instead of half, right? So, and this is taking place this June 25th, 2024, and after. And what does it mean? It's still, if your capital gains are up to $250,000, will be taxed at 50%. Anything after that is taxed at 66.67%. And I just had a buyer who wanted to close in mid-July, and the seller said, you know what, I'm going to give you a discount. I'm going to sell you below market price because I own this property for over 20 years. I have been renting it for 20 years, and it's cheaper for me to sell this condo townhome to you below the market value, instead for me to get the 66.67%.
wow.
Then we
Imagine
move the
that.
closing date from mid-July to June the 20th, so the seller could have this relief still under 50% of the being taxed on it. So, but this is good
So
news and bad news. But if you have, if
listen, yeah, to the first time home buyers, it means you guys
yes,
are gonna have inventory. We were, where is the
yeah,
inventory? Where is the inventory? Now we have inventory in the condo market.
yeah.
Do you think that it could also mean that some houses could come up in the market, or do you think it is gonna be a straight just condos, Elisa? In your
When we're talking about, when we're talking about specifically this this tax impact, well, it impacts mostly condo market, either condo flats first and the condo townhomes. Freehold homes, yes, may affect, but they are not rented as much as
mm,
condo properties, right? So there are some
I
freehold homes that are rented, and they probably, the owner has to sell because they need some liquidity right now, because they need it for another business, and they need to pull that money into a different business they have, probably, who knows. So probably they are forced as well to sell. But if they're selling a primary residence, of course, no tax applies. But if they were renting this
yeah.
freehold home, yes. And now,
So
there's a very fine line, because if you have a condo townhome which has a condominium corporation attached to it, but if you're an investor who bought a house and now it's a triplex or a fourplex, of course you don't have that until a condominium corporation, right? So
yeah,
those
and let's
homes, those places are not included in these statistics. I'm going to tell you, even
yeah.
though they do behave, right, in the more or less the same terms as the rest of the condo market is behaving, because it's a rental property, but they're
Mhm.
not specifically included because we have not been able to determine that inclusion so far.
Yeah, and guys, please remember that historically, the real estate mind in Canada is to don't sell your real estate, because it's a way to accumulate your wealth. So for decades, whoever buys one property, they don't typically sell it. They typically rent and buy another one, rent and buy another one. So I can imagine that right now there's a lot of investors that are shaking because, they say like, oh my God, if I don't sell it right now, like, what am I going to do with all these like gains, like, uh,
But June 25th is around the corner. So if you're not
mhm,
selling now, probably you have to make numbers and decide if you're staying on the market with some losses, and just see how the market it's evolving. I don't know how an impact in the long run it's going to have this 66.7%. Time will tell us. And the same thing that they did with the vacant home tax, that they are taking it off and they are, returning the monies they took on 2023 for all those people who were paying the vacant tax, reporting that. So I don't know what's going to happen with this one. I don't know how experimental is this. It is really hindering the investors market, and the government is complaining there's not enough housing, and we clearly see there's housing, but there's something else, right? There's something else going on. Well, but I don't want to get political here. But this is where we
Of
stand.
course.
This is where we stand right now.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
you see, so this is the good, the bad, and the ugly in the game. So depending where you stand, on the what side of the fence you are standing, this can benefit you, or this may not benefit you. So you know what? Just give us a call. Let us talk to you. Let's personalize this conversation with you. So send a message to Carla. Carla, if you are so kind to put our Calendly over there
Yeah,
for us.
yeah. I
Thank you so
already did
much.
it.
Oh,
Yeah,
perfect,
I
perfect.
already
So,
did it. Thank you so
mhm.
much, guys. Truly appreciate all the information, Elisa, and we'll see you next week. Every Tuesday we have our live with new information. Thank you so much, and have a
Thank
really
you,
nice day. Thank
Carla.
you.
With